Hey all, Scott Bierko here at a place called the Grand Ole RV Resort in Nashville, Tennessee. And today, as an experiment, I am trying a YouTube vlog, excuse me. I've been blogging for so long, I've got blogging on the brain. So having done 100 posts of my blog, I thought it would be something interesting just to try a video version of this. So laptop in hand, I've moved out of the camper to this site in front of the creek. Yeah, we're in Nashville, so we call it a creek. Today is our last day at the Grand Ole RV Resort, and we are pushing off tomorrow around 12 p.m. To go to a place called Yarbury, Tennessee, where we'll spend 6 nights by another creek before pushing off from there to go to the Smoky Mountains again. So having a little bit of grief, sadness, leaving Nashville. This is a place where our friends Tony and Jeff live, and some of their friends and connections as well, like Jeff's girlfriend Emily, who we got to meet while we're here, as well as reconnect with Jeff's daughter Sam, who is now in 6th grade. We haven't seen her in 10 years, so there's some sadness about leaving our friends behind and going to our next site. But sadness is a part of this experience of traveling, and it has been ever since we left New York and our home, that we are somewhat transient now. We arrive at a space and are a little nervous as we pull in and set up. And then after a couple of days or couple of weeks, in this case, we get very accustomed to being here. And then the feeling starts to happen, as it is now, of, oh, we're going to leave. And so what do I feel about that? I feel that it's re-triggering for me in a certain way of trauma, of just being abandoned or abandoning. But the good news is that I'm getting used to it. So it no longer feels strange to pack up and go. In fact, it feels quite natural to have a situation have an arc to it, where we will arrive and have those feelings, like I said, of trepidation or anxiety, and then get used to it and feel very at home, and then have the little bit of sadness as we leave. This place has a sign above the door that says, "Come as strangers, leave as friends." And I was thinking about that last night as I was driving home from Tony's house, and I think it's true. The people here at the Grand Ole RV Resort have been very friendly with us, and I'm thinking specifically about a man named Kit, who, when we arrived, Beth was driving the truck and pulling the camper because we have a tow trailer. And typically when we come to a new site, I'm the one driving, but in this case Beth had taken over, and instead of switching to have me park the camper, Kit said, this is the first time we met him, Kit said, no, she can do it. I'm going to help her with it. And Beth was game. And this is the type of site which we call a back-in. So when you have a tow trailer, the easiest way to park your camper is when you have what's called a pull-through. And that's where you drive down the driveway of a site, and somebody invariably in a golf cart is in front of you, and they lead you into your site, and all you have to do is pull forward into the site and stop when they tell you when to stop, and you're then right by all your hookups for septic and water and electric. By comparison, a backup situation is when they lead you to your site, and then you look behind you and say, oh, okay, that's where I have to back the truck in, the camper in, to stay for the night or the week. That's a lot harder. And the reason it's harder is because, unlike backing up a truck or a car, you have to turn the wheel in the exact opposite way that your mind has been trained to actually make it work. That's number one. Number two, even small increments of turns really affect how the camper behind you or the trailer behind you move. And three, you're always doing this in front of other people. So whether it's just me watching Beth or vice versa, or whether you have somebody like Kit who's with you, you are on display. I just saw a sign yesterday that actually said, I can't remember the exact words, I'm paraphrasing, but part of camping, part of the excitement of being in a campsite is watching other people try to park their campers. So for some people, this is a source of amusement to watch people struggle moving their camper in. And it's even more so for some people a source of amusement when they're watching a couple do it, because what will typically happen is that one of the people is in the truck going backwards, and the other person is outside guiding them. And this can lead to all sorts of marital discord that you can see happening on a campsite. And I suppose for the people who are already parked and who have already gone through that, it's a moment where they can look at it and say, I'm not alone. Me and my wife or me and my husband go through this same stuff. Or me and my partner, I should say. So Beth did it. And she did it with Kit's help. And he was a friend to her, and he was understanding, and he was encouraging. And yeah, he was a friend right from the get-go. And we've seen him, 20 times at least in the last 2 weeks, and had brief conversations with him. And part of the reason we've had so many conversations with Kit was because, as those of you who have read my blog know, it was raining like crazy in this past week. And there was some worry that the creek behind us was going to overflow, which would have caused the need for an evacuation of all of us who were on either side of us, as well as us, to get out of here and go to higher ground. So the night before, it was raining and thundering and lightning, and we were in a camper, and we woke up and we went out to see the creek, and it was almost up at the edge. And that's when we, found Kit and other people here at the site and said, what's going on? Because they had called us to warn us. And he said, right now it's okay, but hitch your trailer to your truck, pack it up, be ready to move at a moment's notice, because if we get the call from the owner that we have to move everybody, we will. So we did not have to do that, as it turns out. The rain would stop, the creek would go down, the rain would start, the creek would go up. And so we lived with that for a couple of days until it was what it is today, which is sunny, in the 60s, beautiful. So here in Nashville, here in Tennessee, here in the South, we have experienced this over and over, which is 4 seasons in 1 week, or 4 seasons sometimes in 1 day. Don't know whether that is climate change related, or whether it is just this part of the country. But it is a meme, if you will, that a lot of the people here share with us, which is that 4 seasons in 1 day. So what does that mean? That means, it's when I woke up this morning, I had to put a hoodie on and to walk the dog, and jeans. And now it is 10 something, and 10:20 our time, and I'm out here in a short sleeve shirt. And by the time it turns to 1 o'clock, I'm sure that I'll be in a t-shirt, because it'll be 75 degrees. So, and then at night it'll get cool again. So as I'm talking about that, as a lot of you know, one of the reasons we're doing this whole journey is to figure out, do we want to live in a place like Nashville or someplace else? And the weather is a huge consideration, because it's very different, say, in Savannah, where we started out this journey, compared to Asheville, where we were last month, and now in Nashville. And I'm sure as we make our way eastward and then north again, up to New England later, the Finger Lakes in New England later in the summer, we're going to experience all different types of weather patterns there too. So I find it interesting. And I also find it interesting to be around all the other people and the workers as we all react to the weather as travelers, and how that affects the moods, how it affects the animals. Most of us have dogs. And just accepting that that's part of what goes on here. And as I said earlier, that's the learning, is that whether it's the emotions that we have over the course of a stay, or whether it's the weather while we're here, constant change, constant flux, and making friends with that. So that's what I wanted to say today in this first video post. And of course, feel free to make comments, and I look forward to being with you again. Bye-bye.